Og den optager om 2, 1. Let's go.
Velkommen til Ufiltreret Fitness episode 32.
Hej Holger,
sidder
mand.
her.
Hvad så?
Hvad så, Victor?
Kæft en
Så
vinkel,
kører vi.
Skal jeg have den nede eller oppe, synes du?
Jeg synes, det er bedst, når den er oppe.
Oppe.
Victor han sidder lige og justerer sit webcam nu.
Camera was unplugged.
Nå, vi skal jo til en helt særlig episode i dag. Vi har jo de sidste par gange her skulle snakke rigtig meget om Rogue. Og vi er jo sindssygt glade og spændte på den her gæst, vi skal have i dag.
Det kan du tro.
Han deler jo navn med hende, der lige har vundet den konkurrence, vi lige har dækket.
Ja, og games.
Det er for sindssygt.
Det er det. Det er faktisk ret vildt, når man tænker over det. Vi har jo Kristof på besøg. Han kommer her om... Ja, nu ved jeg ikke, om vi skal sidde og plapre i 5 eller 10 minutter, men han kommer i hvert fald på et tidspunkt. Og hvad, Holger, vil du sige lidt om?
Jamen, vi kan jo også lige fortælle, at altså, den her episode kommer så sjovt nok til at foregå på engelsk. Altså, vi vil lige lave sådan lidt intro her på dansk, hvor vi lige sidder og forklarer, hvad der skal ske. Og så lige pludselig, så dumper han jo ind i det her, vi sidder i sådan et online studie. Så når han dumper ind, så lige pludselig, så kommer vi til at byde ham velkommen, og så tage en snak med ham om livet omkring CrossFit og alt det, det nu indebærer.
Har du ikke sådan en god Cali twang, når du snakker American?
En Cali twang.
Jeg har sådan en god Texas accent fra dengang jeg boede i USA. Og Holger, han er jo halvt amerikaner.
Min mom, hun er American.
Er hun ikke fra Texas faktisk?
Nej, hun er fra Pennsylvania.
Det er
jeg ved ikke, hvad de snakker deroppe. Jeg ved bare, at jeg fik at vide, at jeg skulle holde med Pittsburgh Steelers, dengang jeg var barn.
Steelers. Jeg holdt med Dallas Cowboys. Nå, men Holger, som sagt, vi glæder os til Kristof kommer, det bliver nice, og vi har forberedt et spørgsmål. Der har fandme været mange spørgsmål i indbakken, så jeg har prøvet at lave sådan en overordnet sådan, tema, i stedet for sådan direkte spørgsmål. Men der er jo sygt meget med sådan Gabby og Laura, som er Kristofs kæreste og søster jo. Der er meget med det her presset med sociale medier. Der er mange, der spørger ind til sådan noget om hans liv, eller sådan hans forhold til Laura og Gabby har ændret sig, efter de er blevet kendte. Altså, om han stadig bare ser dem som sin søster og kæreste, sådan kunne jeg forestille mig. Der er spørgsmål til træningsfilosofi, zone 2, nye bevægelser i CrossFit, hans prep til Dubai, favorit CrossFit memory, hans fitness toxic trait, og alt muligt. Og så har vi sådan en rapid fire, jeg kørte sidst, nogle yes-no questions, jeg tænker.
Fedt.
Ja.
Det kan være, når han dumper ind, at vi lige sådan overordnet set lige skal høre om sådan, jamen, hvor er home nu, og sådan nogle ting der. Og så dykke ned i det der forhold med, om han bor med Gabby, og hvor de er, og har de hjem sammen, og hvad er planerne, og så lige spørge til Laura, og så kommer vi nok helt naturligt ind på det med træning. Jeg tror helt klart, det er det, der kommer til at fylde mest. Det er i hvert fald det, jeg synes, der er mest spændende, det er at høre hans tanker omkring det. Altså, nu træner han jo med den bedste i verden, så...
Så sygt. Så sygt at træne med nummer 1 og nummer 4. Og Ben Smith. Forestil dig at rulle op til det hold om morgenen til morgenkondi. Så står Ben der bare, Gabby og Laura, så er du bare sådan, yes, vi kører partner workout. Fuck.
Prøv at tænke på, nu tænker vi alt muligt om det, men det er sikkert de samme ting, de dealer med, ligesom når du ruller op på dit hold.
Ja.
Der er sikkert en, der har ondt i lænden, og der er
en, der kommer for sent, og en, der ikke gider lave workouten, og en anden, der skal lære.
Min hund har været vågen hele natten, jeg har ikke sovet. Og
jeg var så sur i morges, Holger. Sådan, vi sidder bare, vi er 8 på stribe, der laver rointervaller, og 8 på stribe, der laver assault bike og bike-intervaller. Vi har legnet 16 maskiner op, ikke også? Og folk moser bare, og så er der 2, der sidder og snakker på maskinerne, og det er meningen, vi skal køre makskald i resterende tid, sådan en AMRAP. Og på et tidspunkt, så eksploderer jeg bare, så råber jeg bare sådan der, shut the fuck up, og cykel til. Og så blev der bare stille, og så kunne man bare høre maskinerne sådan der, bare sådan fik mere fart i.
Det er nice.
Ja.
Hvad har du lavet sidde og snakke på maskinen? Ja. Jeg kører jo sådan lidt de der hjemmelavede dad hours. Det skal bare hurtigt overstås for tiden, så jeg lige kan fokusere på at renovere hus.
Har du været i gang hele dagen?
Ja, faktisk. Jeg tog tidligt fri på arbejde, så jeg kunne komme hjem og så bare stå. Så havde jeg lige nogle kammerater på forbi, og så er der bare nedrykket til.
Er I nået langt med det, eller hvad?
Ja, vi er nået ret langt. Det bliver fedt. Det bliver sindssygt.
Hvad lavede du så i workout i morges?
Victor han stod for programmeringen her til morgen, og det var så... først så lavede vi en IMOM 21. Første minut 10 ring muscle up, andet minut 20 kalorier roning, tredje minut pause. 7 runder.
Den er ikke dum.
Kørte 10, jeg kørte 10 ring muscle up de første 5 runder unbroken, og så kørte jeg 9, dem kørte jeg 6-3, og så kørte jeg 8 til sidst, dem kørte jeg 5-3. Så var jeg wrecked. Og så efter det, så holdt vi 5 minutters pause, så skulle vi lave en Yugo Aigo, 60 double unders, 15 toes to bar, 15 dumbbell bench.
Hvorfor laver I så mange muscle-ups om mandagen? Hvad foregår der?
Jamen, vi skal også til at slappe lidt af. Jeg tror, vi snakkede faktisk om at køre noget legless rope climbs og strict ring muscle-ups næste mandag i stedet for.
Fuck, legless, det er så fedt. Apropos Kristof, han har lavet en workout med high burpee get-overs og legless. Sådan en Yugo Aigo, jeg kan sende dig. Den er ret fed.
Send mig den, det vil jeg lave. Det er perfekt mandag.
Men ellers, Holger, er der noget nyt at fortælle under solen? Jeg kan altid klippe det fra, hvis vi ikke gider snakke om noget spændende, så du kan bare lade som om, de ikke er der.
Nej, ikke det. Hvad der sker alt muligt. Der var vægtløftning i weekenden. Alle mulige af crossfitterne har løftet, både din kæreste og alle mulige i Jylland. I var vel til Østmesterskabet, ikke?
Jamen, er Øst og Vest på samme tid, eller hvad? Er det mig, der er helt loop?
Det ligger næsten altid på samme tid.
Nå, men hvem vandt derovre? Jeg kan fortælle... det minder mig om, vi kan også snakke lidt om One, men fortæl om Vest, så kan jeg fortælle om Øst bagefter.
Altså, jeg var der jo ikke. Jeg ved bare, jeg lånte mit trikot ud til Simon, Jeanette, ned fra havnens kæreste.
Nå ja, var han god?
Og så, jeg tror, han fik guld eller sølv. Jamen, alle de der crossfitter fik guld eller sølv. Skud ud til dem alle sammen, det var sygt flot. Jeg så bare et billede, hvor hele Aarhus CrossFit, de stod med medaljer.
Jamen, det synes jeg, Astrid og Molle, de fik også en guld og sølv med 1 kilos forskel mellem dem. Så det var også rimelig godt. Eskild løftede også. Fik også guld. Nej, sølv, undskyld. Så skud til de 3. Hvem siger du, hvem på Aarhus gjorde det godt?
Simon, jeg så, du ved, jeg bare så sådan et holdbillede til sidst, hvor de alle sammen stod med medaljer på, føler jeg. Så skud til alle Aarhus CrossFit, der var ude at lave VL.
Jamen, jeg kan også sige lidt skud til One. Der var jo RX holdt en konkurrence i Gladsaxe. Og vi har fået lidt at vide, at der er en del, der skriver sådan lidt on and off, om vi ikke kan dække lidt danske CrossFit-konkurrencer. Det vil vi jo egentlig godt. Så den her One, der er Mads Erting, som har været på team til semifinalen sidste år, hvor han blev syg. Eller i år er det jo så. Han stillede op første gang siden der, og jeg vil ikke sige, at han dominerede, men på leaderboardet gjorde han det sgu ret godt. Han vandt, jeg tror, 3 ud af 5 workouts. Hiver en førsteplads. Stude, min gamle holdkammerat, hiver en anden plads. Første individuelle konkurrence, han vist der stille op til. Jeg mødte ham lige nede i Trykken i dag. Han var rimelig tilfreds med det. Synes programmeringen måske var lidt so-so, men fik nogle gode takeaways. På pigesiden, Pernille vinder, tror jeg. Har vi nogle andre, vi kender, som lige vinder programmet? Helena, vores islandske veninde, hiver en anden plads.
Det er fedt.
Ja.
Jeg så, ejeren af Butchers, han var nede dagen efter.
Ja, Chris.
Det respekterer jeg. Ja, det var fedt.
Hvordan gik det for ham?
Det ved jeg ikke. Jeg så bare, at han havde postet et billede, hvor han gik på hænder. Og jeg ved ikke, om hans kone også stillede op, eller hvad.
Ja, hun var individuelt dagen inden, tror jeg.
Det er for fedt. Det bliver bare også som nogle år, Victor.
100. Jeg skal lave så meget CrossFit, du fatter det slet ikke. Jeg undrer mig, hvis jeg begynder... Tror du egentlig, hvis man begynder at krudt som gammel, og så sagde sådan på Instagram, ligesom Heller, sådan noget, hey, jeg kan godt begynde at krudt. Der har vi Kristof. Kristof.
Alright.
Oh my god.
Man, welcome. Good to see you.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Awesome. And you can see us and everything. We got the dog in the background. Where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see everything. Good to see you, man. Happy you could make it.
Kinda.
We can make you big as
Is
well.
it? Do you guys want me to go? What is it called? Landscape.
No, whatever works for you. The sound is most important, to be honest.
Okay, now I can see.
Oh, this is perfect.
Which one you want? This one?
Yeah.
This one? Okay, we'll do this one. We'll put you in the middle.
It's like a conference call.
Oh, okay, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. And is the sound okay?
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Crystal. Okay.
There's probably only going to be like 3 people watching this, and then
most people listen to it.
Are we going to be live though?
We can make it. It's actually live, but I can always like do a post edit. So if you say anything stupid, I can always edit it out.
Okay. All right.
But we'll just do it. We've been talking. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. So.
I know, but it doesn't go up until I upload it. So we have like a safe.
Okay.
But yeah, we can.
Now
it's recording now. Yeah.
Live. Oh.
No, it's not live, but it's recording.
It's not. Okay. Sweet.
So I record it and then I put the thing into a program and then I edit and whatever. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But welcome, Kristof. Thank you for joining us. We just talked for a few minutes before you came in and walked through like some of the themes, and we're just super happy and excited to have you here because, I mean, we're a small Danish podcast and I think a lot of our listeners are just super excited to have a guest like you on here. And we've been bombarded with questions, to be honest. We've had like I had almost 100 questions on my Instagram. And it's like I sent you, questions with your training, questions about you, questions about your future, about Laura, Gabby, and we'll just get through it and have a conversation.
Yeah,
and
sounds good to me.
You've met me before, of course. I think you've met Holger, competed with him, Butcher's Classic.
Butcher's Classic and Madrid a couple years ago as well.
Yeah,
maybe some
kicked his
other
ass a few
competitions.
times.
Yeah. So
And
where do you live now?
Butchers is. Sorry, it's too bad Butchers is not happening this year, right? It sucks.
Yeah, I think they ran out of money this year, but I think next year it'll be back. So they paid you guys too much last year.
Okay.
And to everyone who's listening out there, it's Kristof. He took home first with 10th fittest man in the world, Jelle, before he became 10th fittest man. So he's one of the OGs.
Yeah. Now he's too good to be on my team.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing amazing, man. Yeah, we're a big fan of Jelle here. We like the way he trains. We've met him in Belgium a few years ago, the year he didn't qualify, and he was just so down to earth and nice. And now that he's broken through, he seems like the coolest guy ever. So yeah. But Kristof, tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you? How old are you? Where do you live? All that stuff.
Okay, it sounds like a first date or something.
Yeah, we can call it that.
29 years old, and currently I live in Poland, in Krakow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With your girlfriend, Gabby?
With my girlfriend, and we got a new addition to the family. It's a small English bulldog puppy.
Oh, so, cute.
Yeah.
You just got it,
adjusting to the dog life. Yeah, Wednesday we got back from Rogue on Wednesday, and then we went straight to the breeder and then picked her up.
What's his name? Her name?
Yeah. Her name is Tsuki. That means cute in Hungarian.
Wait, did Laura get a corgi just now as well?
Yeah, she got the corgi right after the games.
So you got 2 new puppies in the family.
Yeah, it's super fun.
That's not bad. Holger has a big dog as well, and I got 2 right now, so we're big lovers.
Sleeping somewhere.
Yeah. So Kristof, you just came back from the States. Successful weekend, I would say, even though you didn't compete personally. But I mean, you're brother to Laura, fittest in the world, and you're dating or partnering, however you would say it, with 4th fittest in the world, and you're a pretty fit guy yourself. And they just dominated Rogue. You want to talk about that a little bit? Tell us about it.
What do you guys want to know? It's a little bit easier that way because I don't know. It's a lot happen.
What do you want to know, Holger? Let us know, Holger.
Yeah, just shoot straight away.
Yeah. Like we're not actually talking that much about them competing, but more like how has it been like being in that environment? Like you've been training with like 2 of the best in the world, like that best and one more that's really up there. So like, has that been pushing you, and how does it motivate you like day to day? You guys have been training with Ben Smith as well. Like I know you and me were at the same age, so I know that you've seen him when you were growing up and getting into the sport. So for everybody, that would be huge to just like be around him and surround yourself with people like that.
Laura was working with Ben now for maybe 3 years, and then I started working with him after the last semifinals I went to, which was 2 years ago now. He is an incredible guy. They always say that don't meet your heroes because they're only going to disappoint you. Yeah. I mean, with Ben, it's really the opposite. He's the most down-to-earth guy. He still teaches classes to the day.
So legit.
Whoever, if you just go up to him, he'll be happy to have a conversation with you about whatever, training. And he's so knowledgeable. He's been around since the dawn of CrossFit, basically. And he is literally, like a walking CrossFit or fitness encyclopedia. And it's just a blast. Like the first time we went out to Krypton with Gabby, it was before the games. We actually spent like 2 months there. And I remember on a Monday, we arrived on a Sunday, and then Monday, we always squat, usually back squat. And then they were like, so Kristof, let's go, let's join me, let's squat. And it's like a couple of dudes, super good dudes in the gym. It's always one bar, and then we just worked up to a heavy. and I was pretty jet lagged, and we agreed with Gabby that the only thing we do today is just some light movement, and then that's going to be it. And then, when you meet him, you're just like, if this guy tells you, let's go squat, you're just going to go and squat with him.
How heavy?
Yeah, heavy. And then we ended up wrecking ourselves, or I did, and then Gabby did the smart thing, of course. She just did a little bit of bike curl or whatever, but I was pretty sore after that. But it's just like such a contagious environment. In general, Krypton is the place, the most ideal, I should rephrase this. CrossFit Krypton is a place that you imagine what CrossFit should be like. From the members to the coaches to the staff to the layout of the whole gym. It's just a beautiful community led by the most humble guy you've ever met. So it's incredible to be there.
Nice. We've talked about that a lot as well, me and Holger, in previous episodes, about like how a lot of the new generation of CrossFitters, they don't really have this affiliate sort of community that we're used to seeing with Ben, Scott, Froning. They more have like training camps, and it's sort of like a elite environment where you have elite athletes and they're separated from the rest of the community. And me and Holger are not a fan of that. We would wish that the top of the game, like you, Laura, Ben, whoever it is, sort of also feed into the community. And that's why we love seeing the stuff Ben does, because it seems so down to earth. He doesn't feel better than anyone else. At least it doesn't look like that from the outside looking in. He seems like he cares about people. He would train you just as well as he would train me or my mother. You know what I mean? And we're just big fans of that. And I mean, I think that's why we're big fans of you and Laura and Gabby as well, because you guys seem much more down to earth. You mean you don't separate yourselves from the community. You know what I mean?
Because we want to be a part of the community, and I think we should all realize that we all come from that community. And whereas elite athletes, if you want to call it that, are trying to separate themselves from the CrossFit community, and then be almost like a standalone entity.
Yeah.
When we are there on the weekly, we jump in on class workouts.
Yeah, it's so legit. I love that.
You should never feel like you're good enough to jump into a class workout. And if you can't make the class workout hurt enough, then you have no business doing 2-a-days and multiple sessions and, loading the bar RX Plus or whatever they call it today.
And imagine that too. You're like a regular gym goer in Krypton, and you look to your right and there's Kristof. You look to your left, there's Laura, and in front of you, Ben's coaching. That would be like training next to Messi and some other guy. It's just so legit.
But here's the thing, like, I don't think we should idolize elite athletes more than we idolize. We shouldn't idolize elite athletes and look at regular gym goers as whatever, like a lower tier athlete, if you will. Everyone has their goals. Everyone goes into the gym. We all have the same mindset. What makes you an elite athlete? It's very hard to grasp it. It's very hard to quantify it. And I think it's important to be a part of the community because we all come from there. No one starts as an elite athlete. We all go to classes and we all start to do more and more at the end of the day. But I was never a fan of going into a gym and then, have like an elite athlete facility or this or that. When we're at Krypton, we work out on the same rig with the same stuff next to the class or in the class. And when we go on Saturdays to the when we go on Saturdays to the running club, we all run together with the whole gym, whoever is joining the running club.
Well, that sort of leads us to like, also, I want to hear a bit about, if we want to have some sort of structure in this interview, if you will call it, I want to hear about your life and your your CrossFit journey. Where did you start? Because I think a lot of us know we've seen you in Spain train a lot. We've seen you back in Hungary train. We've seen you in the States. I mean, you've been all over the place. And so, you've jumped from program to program before, and you've had different journeys and different friends and coaches. And how did you start, and where have you gone? Like, why have you been in Spain? Why have you been in Virginia? All these places. Let's hear about it.
It's a good question. You are right. I've been a part of multiple training programs to today. We started CrossFit with Laura 10 years ago today. Not exactly today, but this year. 10 years ago. And when we started, I believe there was only 2 affiliates in Budapest. So when we started, it was in our parents' climbing hall. There was a little makeshift gym. We used a bench bar. We looked at CrossFit.com programming for a long time. I seen a Navy SEAL doing Fran. That was the first workout when I typed CrossFit into YouTube back in the day. And then we did Fran for the next 3 weeks, like a couple times a week, just squatting to like a medicine ball and then trying to get kipping pull-ups and all that kind of stuff. And then a while passed by. We trained mostly in the climbing gym, ran around the gym. There was like I remember there was like
did you do climbing as well when you were younger?
Yeah, sometimes.
A little bit. Okay.
I was never really a fan of climbing. And so yeah, we trained there, and then eventually our garden, we got like a beat up tractor tire, and then we still got the hammers from like old Under Armour commercials and all that kind of stuff. Or we had a friend build a pull-up bar in the garden, so we trained there for a long time. And then back in the day in Slovakia, there was a competition called Central European Throwdown. It was pretty big at the time, and then we tried to qualify there, but for the qualifier you had to go to an affiliate. And then when we Googled CrossFit on the CrossFit affiliate map, I guess no one uses that anymore. We just go on Google. Yeah. But we went to a place called Ryba CrossFit Duna, which is still an active affiliate to today in Budapest. And then we went there and we asked the owner if we could do the qualifiers. There was a 3-week long period. It was every Friday. And then we asked him if we pay him so and so, then could we do that? Could he judge us? And he did that. And he thought we would fit into the gym, so he offered us to come train there. But at the time, funny enough, he couldn't afford a membership fee, so he was kind enough to pay one membership fee for the 2 of us. And then, all in all, it was an incredible experience because the owner is actually a Danish guy. His name is Klaus.
Klaus.
And and he's a CrossFit OG in the space.
It's Philip Yang's uncle.
Yes, that's correct.
Philip Yang, correct. His like uncle.
Philip Yang is the first famous athlete I've ever met, because every summer we have the Siget Festival, which is on the same island in the middle of the Danube as the CrossFit box was, and he would come in. Should I say? But like. He would come in like hang over from the next
Philip's
day.
He's a friend of the program, so you can say what you want.
Yeah, no, he's a super good guy, and I was always like, even later in my career, I always thought about him because this guy would get hammered the day before, and then he would just crush the gym the next day.
Tell us about it. I mean, Hugger's his old training buddy, so he knows a story or two.
He's a very good dude, and so it turned out amazing for us because at the time, neither Laura nor us spoke much English, and this was an international community that we became part of, and then socialized more in an international environment than a Hungarian box. And then we ended up staying there for a long time. I ended up doing my level 1 the following year, and then started to coach there, and I was there for a while at that box.
But what made you go from, let's say, I think everyone here knows you've been on the program for a few years, and now you're on Krypton. I think I remember you guys being on Mayhem for a few years. How come you guys changed from program to program? Is it just because sometimes you outgrow the place, or you want to try actual new programming? Is it the people? Is it the opportunities the other programs give you? I mean, what made you guys change over the years?
For me, it was always the people. And there are a couple of variables. So we did with Laura, what is it called? Swiss Alpine Battle. Alpine Battle. What was it? 2018. That was maybe even the last year.
Yuli was there as well.
Because I'm hungry now. You guys can meet Laura's dog. It's Cusco.
That's cute.
How old is he? Okay, now go and play. 4 months.
Oh, that's a cute one.
Chewing everything. So sorry. So after the Swiss Alpine Battle, we spent the day in Zurich, where Hinshaw had a seminar with Froning, where we actually got to meet Froning, which is an incredible experience. Like, I think if you're if you're not a fan of Froning, like, he's
this
OG,
program
right?
here, we are the biggest fans of Froning. He's handsome. He's always tanned.
Yeah.
He looks good. He's like 35 years old. He looks amazing. He always moves well. I mean, we love him. Crazy
we
as
usually
he is,
have like a 10-minute rant about how perfect he is.
Yeah. I mean, I've literally seen every video of him ever published on YouTube at least 5 times. So that was an incredible time. And he offered his programming to us. I think Mayhem Athlete just started maybe like a year or 2 prior to that. So it was incredible for me to jump on the program. And that was the time when it was almost like a honeymoon period for me with CrossFit. I had Froning's phone number on my phone. I texted him sometimes. I was like, oh my God. It was like, I almost climax every time I send him a message, or he sent me a message. And it was freaking incredible. And at the time, what he programmed in terms of, I did always what's Rich doing, because of course you want to do what's Rich doing. And it was just like a shit ton of volume. And it was incredible. I got into a shape that I've never been before. And then all of a sudden we went from double days on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, active recovery, couldn't really call it on Thursday because it was like a 2-hour C2 bike ride and a swimming session. And then Friday, Saturday, and then all of a sudden we started program for Sunday as well. So we were literally in the gym 24/7, 369. And it was just awesome.
And you're still in Budapest at this point.
Still in Budapest at this point.
Training with Laura and
Yeah. And at the time she was doing DecaComp with Michelle. So she would jump in on some of the workouts and some she would do from Michelle. She was always like a free spirit in that sense, which was awesome. But we got I got very good memories from that time because we got a bunch of guys and girls from the gym and we literally trained nonstop together. And it was just a lot of fun, We were very fit, maybe not as strong, but very, very fit. Yeah. that was also fun. And then, at that time, a year passed by, 2019, sanctionals started to happen, and Axel, Laura, so Axel and I wanted to do a team, try to qualify as a team. In 2019 was a hectic season. I went to China, I went to the UK, and we also wanted to do a team for
we competed in China that year at the Shanghai Throwdown. Yeah. I remember that.
What an incredible time, right?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So we needed a 4th female to qualify. And at a time, I just looked up on my phone. I always had this crush on this girl, Gabriela Migawa. So I sent her a DM, hoping that she would come for the weekend qualify with us. And she did say yes. And then she came. And that's where my relationship with Gabby started.
And who did you guys team up with?
It was Laura and Axel on the team. And then Gabby, unfortunately, had a knee injury at that time. So we changed her to an awesome girl, Louise Wikström from Sweden. And then we went competing at Lowlands with Laura, her, and Axel. But then when we started to date with Gabby, me living in Hungary, she's living in Poland, we sort of went back and forth. And we were trying to look for a place where we would want to live together. I wasn't too keen on moving to Poland at a time, and she wasn't too keen to move to Hungary at a time. And Axel invited us to Mallorca, and Mallorca is just, I don't know. Have you guys ever been to Mallorca?
I've been to the gym once. Yeah.
It is
crazy.
It's
nice.
A great place. The gym owner is amazing. I can only say good things about Mallorca.
Yeah.
And then at a time we spent maybe like 2-3 weeks in Mallorca at Axel's place. Incredible time. And then we went out to the 2019 games where Laura and Gabby competed. And then when we came back, we were like, Mallorca was pretty nice. Maybe make a move there. So we moved to Axel's place with Gabby. We lived there for a while up until September of 2019, I believe. No.
Is this the year Laura podiums rookie year, right? And Gabby?
No. That was 2018. This was a year after that.
So Laura's already a big name in the sport. She's already well known, and Gabby's already a games athlete.
Yeah. And then maybe it was 2020 when that was just right before COVID. We went to Mallorca, and then the timeline is a long time ago. I got mixed up in it.
I know.
But regardless, Gabby was training there. I was training there. Laura was coming every once in a while. And then how we ended up with the program is that Gabby qualified to Dubai. and there was no one. Her coach said that he cannot make the trip out to Dubai. And we were training at C23, where the program was training. John was training there. And more and more throughout the week, we jumped into a couple of workouts with them. And then we were like, hey, John, would you be interested in coming out coaching Gabby through Dubai at that time? And he did. And that's how the relationship started there. And then soon after that, we joined the program. We were with them, lived in Mallorca for 3 years, I believe. And it was a long time. So it's true that I was jumping from program, but I did spend a bigger amount of time on each. So it was never just like try it out and then leave quickly, hopping from here to there. So with them, that relationship ended over a year, maybe almost 1.5, 2 years ago now, and 2 years ago now. And then soon after that, Laura was always, she was like, you guys should come train with me. You guys should come train with me. I was like, no, we got a good thing going on. I don't want to jump in a bit of the season. And I met Ben at one of the games. I think Laura took third that year. And he was just a nice guy. You know, it was super nice to hang with him. And Laura obviously got super, super fit. And then the relationship ended with the program. And then that's when I decided that I would like to go with him.
And how is it? Because now this it's Unfiltered Fitness. That's the name of the podcast, and we do speak a bit unfiltered. When a relationship ends like that, for us looking in at you guys at the upper echelon of CrossFit, does it end like a bad breakup?
Stop saying that.
No, but does it? We all want to know, like, how does this work behind the scenes? Does it end like a bad breakup? Is it professional? Is there a contract? Do you guys go like, okay, the contract's up, Ben offers us something else, see you, John? Or is it like, fuck you, John, we're never going to see you again? How does it work in reality? We always wonder. And, I know it's different from person to person.
Yeah, but exactly. A relationship is a relationship. If you had girlfriends in the past, some breakups are better, some are worse. And I guess it's the same,
But you still say hi to John when you see him at Madrid.
Yeah, of course. We're still friendly. He sends me a message on my birthday, and I do the same. And at Christmas time, we do the same thing. I always, when I switched to the program, I sent a message to Froning, and I thanked him for all his work and everything. And I try to close a relationship within, parting ways in as civilized manner as possible. There was also nothing there. I explained my feelings, why we are changing, what was the reason for it, and then that was that. And he sent me a message back, and we moved on. And the relationship, obviously, with the program was a bit deeper than that, a lot deeper than that. We did spend a lot of time with them. There's a lot of good memories. Just a lot of, there's a lot of memories. And
yeah, I understand.
I think every relationship takes two people. And I believe that both of us can say good things about the other one and bad things about the other one as well. And I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to be diplomatic here, but I felt like at the time it was a time for us to leave.
Yeah.
And that was that.
And when you say it was time to leave, is it just because, the way me and Holger look at programming, we think that it's not always the programming that matters. It's more the people, the training environment, the intensity. One program is not that different from the other if you do bike intervals or row intervals. So when you guys leave, is it just because you see, okay, we have a different opportunity in the States, or Laura can make money here, let's support her, or Gabby's going to do this, let me support her? What sort of considerations do you guys take when you change?
So here's the thing. I think there's a lot of talk in CrossFit, if that's where you're trying to get in. That one of the things you were saying, that contracts here and getting paid here and getting paid there. Throughout our life, we always either paid for training program or provided something why we get the training program for. We never got paid for following anyone. And this is the same way I look at brands that would sponsor me as well. I always would sign with a brand whose products I already use or like, or I resonate with them. And it was the same with the training programs. It wasn't that well thought of at the end. I gotten a little bit John has this way and the program has their way of programming. And I was following that for 3 years. I seen progress in certain aspects of my fitness. I seen maybe not as much as I hoped, so in other aspects. And I will be always thankful for the time because I did learn a lot from him. And he helped me a lot. But what I'm trying to get as well is that I know it's Ufiltreret Fitness, but what can I say? Here's the other thing. When Gabby was with the program, it was very, very important for me that when we went to competitions, I always got Gabby's coach's pass, but I was there as a support person, as a helper. I intentionally never crossed the boundary of coach and athlete. That was always between her and John. That was his job. And I didn't want to do anything with that. Of course, I had my own ideas what could have been done differently in training or mostly in training, but I never expressed that because I respected their relationship as coach and athlete. And I feel like when that period ended and we had a lot of talk with Gabby and we looked at our options, what training program should we follow, maybe the same, maybe separate. Through a natural curve, we came to the conclusion that she would be happy if she would be coached by me. And at the time, I just started with Ben, and what he was programming had a lot of influence on me as a person and on my fitness as well. And in a cohesion with him, are coaching Gabby, if you will. He's helping a lot, but I also cater a bunch of stuff to her needs.
It's going pretty well, I would say.
Yeah.
It's going well. I mean, she's had an amazing year.
This topic of like training programs and different personalities, we've talked about it a lot before on this podcast as well. Like, we are both fans of Andre Hode, but he's got a really like stringent way of programming and coaching, and he's a very specific type of guy, and his program is for that specific type of people. Like, I could never do that program. That would never work for me. But I see the result for someone like Jelle or someone like Rebecca Widdesen. And those people are the same as him. They want things in these boxes and they want everything to be controlled and everything like this and this. And as you say, like different programs, they're for different people. So it's like you try to go a little bit around it, like not saying anything too direct, but we get it. Like it's the same for everybody. Yeah.
But how is it also? Sorry, you go on. You can go on.
No, so I just wanted to say that today, if you want to find a CrossFit training program, you don't have to look too far.
No.
Each country has at least 15 of them, 5 of them, whatever it may be. And I think as someone who's just starting out and want to be more competitive, it is very hard. What do you choose? And it doesn't get easier when you get to a higher and higher level. What I can say from my perspective, working with Ben, okay, let me wind it back a little bit. I have done in the past programmings that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but I believe the results will come from what I'm doing. Even if I don't like fucking Turkish get-ups, I will do them because so-and-so said it will make me better. But I didn't like it. Now here's the thing. With Ben, I'm reliving my CrossFit honeymoon. It's just we're doing the workouts that I fell in love with in the beginning. It's so simple. It's so effective. I spend the fraction of the time in the gym that I did in the past, but I'm getting fitter and stronger. So it's just, you have to find what works best for you. But I would always say, when you go to a gym as a beginner, as a starter, even as an aspiring athlete, join a gym where you can go into a class and get the right stimulus for the day. Find a gym where the coaches are knowledgeable and wanting to coach you. Don't go to the gym where there are, it's not going to be very popular comment, but I was never been a big fan of, well, I guess it's hard in CrossFit. What I'm trying to get is that there's a lot of gyms that are employing coaches that secretly just want to be a competitor, and the only way to make money and spend as much time in the gym as you can is to coach. but they are not too keen on coaching. They're just there to make a bit of money. And I understand that. I also been there a long time ago. What I'm trying to say is that the best training program for you is going to be the one that suits you the best. You have to do a little bit of searching. You want an attention of an athlete. I wouldn't necessarily say join a mega training platform where you just get assigned maybe a coach if it's individual, or you just buy their generic programming. Do something that you can do with other people, most importantly.
And staying on the topic then, Kristof, with like your modern training philosophy that, I mean, you've done the program, you've done Mayhem, now you're doing Ben, you've probably also tried your own programming and 10 other things. What do you enjoy these days? Is it one-to-one rest with a partner? Is it interval style with the barbell? I mean, what are you guys doing now on this honeymoon? Because when we look at your workouts, and we do them I'll screenshot your workouts on the story and I'll do them at my gym. We love them. Yeah. Holger loves them. What is it that you're doing now that's different from 5 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, it's just a lot of OG CrossFit. I believe that training doesn't have to be too complicated. And
I agree.
If someone would ever want to strap a heart monitor on me and then, I don't know, like that would be one of the things, then I would say, no, thank you. This is not
so no Zone 2.
No.
Because we do not enjoy Zone 2 on this program.
I think there's a place and time for Zone 2. I don't want to shit on that, but
you can
what I would say, what I would say is that, okay, for me, here's the thing. Like as time goes by, for me, I don't want to talk in generic. This is just my experience. I think intensity will be always king. That's the most important. So how my training looks like nowadays is before the games, before Rogue, I was always training with the girls, and then we would go up sometimes to 3 a days. But that means that the 2 sessions that we do in the gym, and the 3rd session would be the pool, the track, it would be the bodybuilding gym. We're talking about maybe a total of 4 hours spent training. And that's including warm up, working out, cool down. When we go into the gym now, it's maybe like, it can stretch out to 2 hours, but I think our unconscious motto is efficient and effective. And we're not going to the gym to spend as much time there as we can. We go there to get the work done, get the job done as efficiently, as quickly as possible. So it changed in that way.
And how is it then with training? You're a really fit guy and you're dating a fit girl and you're a brother to a fit girl. So you have pretty good genes as well. Do you respond the same way to the training that they do? Or do they just sort of sometimes, because I don't think it's a secret. I mean, they've had a bit more success in the sport, maybe,
Yeah.
Do they respond differently than you do? Because I'm dating a girl who's very fit and she looks at a weight and she gains 10 kilos on her back squat, and I can back squat a full progression without having any progression.
It's a very good question. I think it's a great question. Here's the thing. I do believe that Gabby and Laura is way more talented than I am when it comes to any kind, especially CrossFit, right? Or any kind of things. I'm not a very athletic guy in the CrossFit sense. I think I would be much more athletic in actual athletic sports, if that makes sense. In sport, no, I shouldn't say real sports.
Real sports.
The thing is this. Unfortunately, I think it was the Frogman programming that changed my mind in some ways. That I always believe that volume will be king, and just train as much till the point you're broke. You can't walk down. You can only walk down the stairs sideways or some shit like that because you're so sore. And I think I've always self-sabotaged myself leading up to competitions to just do more. And I think it also comes from, my life is a little bit funny because the most important people in my life are girls. My mom, my girlfriend, my sister, we even got a freaking female dog. You know what I mean? And I always spend time with girls more than with guys as training partners in general. And I believe that, I've never done a scientific study, it's just purely my experience, is that girls are always able to handle way more volume than guys. Whereas guys,
it's true.
Yeah. And the thing is this, Gabby gets sore occasionally, But I do believe that Laura should be taken by scientists and examined, because she is never freaking sore.
But it's interesting too, because I would say the way you can destroy an echo bike for 20 seconds or destroy your nervous system with a heavy deadlift, I think a lot of girls have a hard time getting to that intensity just because the fact that they have less muscle than guys. And I mean, with Astrid, my girlfriend, she's almost never sore, and we do the same workouts. I mean, we train 1-to-1 the same, and I'll wake up and I can't move, and she'll be like, "Oh, let's go train." And I bet it's the same with you and Gabby.
Yeah, I think in general guys are able to reach higher intensity, but that intensity drops off way quicker than the girls, and girls are just not going to be able to reach as high of an intensity. So I think it would be a great thing to see a elite level CrossFit girl and guy next to each other, just doing a simple workout as every 3 minutes you do 15 or 20 calorie sprints, and then you will see the guys being, the graph would be just like a big drop off, and the girls would be a bit shallower than that.
But it's interesting too when you say you used to destroy yourself, because I remember when I met you at the games in 2021 at the pool, I think like 3 or 4 days before the competition, we were doing some swimming intervals, and you go and you tell me, Victor, you're supposed to feel that you're not doing anything these days. And I was like itching to train because I'd been deloading for a week, and I was with the team, and I was like, we should do some more swimming intervals. And you were like, bro, just chill. Don't feel you're supposed to feel like you're not doing anything. And it just
I believe I always said so. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, it just shows that you've changed your mind on things throughout the years, and that's, I mean, I like that. I like to see it.
I think we all do, and I was always better at giving good advice to other ones than following those advices myself.
Me too.
It's one of those. There you go.
All right. So Kristof, we also want to hear a little about. We just mentioned it with contracts and money, and looking from the outside in, it's always a mystery how people in the sport of CrossFit sort of make a living. It makes sense. Laura makes a living. She just won whatever, $1 million at Rogue or whatever much it is. But guys like us, guys like maybe you, or just around the games bubble level, how do you guys make a living? Do you coach for a living? Is it sponsors? How do you afford to train? Because me and Holger, we have full-time jobs and train on the side, right? And a lot of people we know are in that situation, and it's always funny to hear how you guys manage all this.
I don't want to name names, but I had a conversation with an agent a while back, and he made these brackets of earnings of CrossFit athletes, and he would say that there is the pinnacle of the CrossFit. Maybe it was a couple of years ago when we talked about it. He was thinking that around 10 guys and girls in the space make $1 million a year. It's not according to their fitness level, but in our space. Mm-hmm. And then he was saying that the next bracket would be the $500,000 bracket, or like around that time, which is, he would say maybe like 50 athletes are making, or it was a little bit like 30 athletes are making that kind of money. And then the drop off is just bigger and bigger and bigger. And then most athletes would be just scrambling for a couple $100 a month, right? So still to today, and I guess in life as well, is just like the middle class in CrossFit, if you will, is not a very thick or deep class, right? Everyone is either making, a few makes a lot of money, and a big bunch is making just a little bit to get by, or need to get another job, or this or that. And there's obviously a big difference between games athletes and even multi-games athletes. I guess there's a lot of factors in terms of our sport and our society is not necessarily rewarding you financially of how well you do. Let's just stick to CrossFit, but also how you present yourself online.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And we talked about this during Rogue. And we've talked about it before, and it's not to shit on anyone, but let's take Danielle Brandon as an example. She is a very good athlete. She's maybe a top 10, top 15 athlete in the world, but the coverage she would get is as if she was a podium athlete. And it's probably because of the way she looks. She has a certain demeanor. She attracts a lot of views on Instagram. And then someone on the other hand, like Laura, who is probably the best, if not, right now in the world, has been for a few years. And the coverage she gets is minimal compared to how good she is. And there seems to be a sort of disparity on how good you are sometimes and how much coverage you can get. And we've seen it with other examples than Laura. And it's just, from us looking outside, it seems weird that it's that way.
In that sense, Laura and Ben is a perfect match because he's like the same.
Yeah. I think here's the thing. Attention is one thing and money is another thing, and they don't necessarily correlate, in my opinion. Obviously, each company, it's like the most famous athletes will sell the most views, so they want to point the cameras towards them. Now, when it comes to getting, where was I trying to get? Here's my thing. The Daniel Brandon example. I always look at just because it's going well for someone else, that doesn't mean it cannot go well for me as well. I was never jealous of someone making X amount of money. And I think the more athletes make more and more money in CrossFit, the better it is for everyone. It just trickles down. What I was never a freaking fan of, and I hope young athletes listen to this, is never sign a product-only contract. Because at the end of the day, either they pay you $1 million or they just give you a free pair of shoes every 3 months. The companies will ask for the same. They always want the same amount of posts. They always want the same amount of attention. I would always say this: value yourself. And I can't emphasize this enough. Value your time, value your person, value the work that you put in, and don't sign shitty contracts. I understand that we all come from different walks of life, and someone might not have a great background financially. Someone has a better background financially. But I would always rather say, get a freaking job than to sign a shit contract. Because at the end of the day, you will always, always regret it.
Have you had a few shit contracts, or... Because I've had a few.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
I remember when we started getting contracts, at least me and Holger, we have a few of the same sponsors. It was always, like way back in the day, we're talking maybe 8 years ago. It was like, hey, we'll pay you 10 boxes of protein powder. And then you do these posts, right? And I mean, we're not making money now, but we're still, now they at least pay for our flights, or they pay for our semifinals hotels, or whatever it is. But it's just funny how it used to be like, you would sell your soul for nothing almost, just to get a few protein
just to
powder,
get a few bucks. And here's the other thing. Like back in the day, I couldn't afford a protein powder, so I signed a deal because they just simply gave me supplements that I wanted to use. And then buying a pair of CrossFit shoes, whichever brand it is, we're talking about 150 euros now. It is a lot of freaking money.
I know.
But on the other hand, how many pairs of shoes do you really need? Right? Do you really need that contract? Can you just buy one of them? True. And I understand. Once again, I'm not trying to point a finger to anyone. I'm just saying from my personal experiences. Yeah. You guys give me a second, please, because I need to get a charger for my phone, and then you guys can keep the conversation.
We'll keep going.
Okay.
Nå, han har stadig happiness forkert der i baggrunden, kan jeg se. Nå, hvad
men det er simpelt, hvis du vil have det.
Men det er ret nice det der med, at han siger, at der er sådan lortekontrakter. Hej Astrid, hvad så? Vil du være med? Nej, han skulle bare lige oplade sin telefon. Jeg kan altid klippe det fra os der.
Det er leben, du skal lade det blive. Ja. Men hvad, altså, vi snakker med Sebastian det her. Altså, du skal ikke, altså det der med bare at shoppe rundt i de der sponsorater hele tiden.
Ja, præcis. You got it working.
It's not the longest cable. Yeah. All right, I'm back. Sorry.
All right. So with all this, Kristof, and we really appreciate how you're sort of like speaking from the hip, so to say. We also just want to hear a bit about you, so it's not just about life with Laura and Gabby. I mean, you've qualified, or you've gotten invited for Dubai, and I mean, I think it's no secret you've tried to qualify for the games for a few years and been sort of close on the verge, and you've been stopped a few times by new movements or the qualification process with the online semifinals and having long arms, all these things. But how are you prepping for Dubai this year? Are you doing anything special, or?
Yeah, I never want to make excuses. I would just rather say I wasn't good enough to qualify. It was so that it is what it is. Dubai is incredible. I tried to qualify last year. I couldn't, and this year I got an invite, which I'm eternally grateful for. And it is going to be the biggest international competition I've ever partaken in. I would say the biggest one was for me prior semifinals, but now having all the international athletes is just. We've been to Dubai with Laura, we've been to Dubai with Gabby, with both of them, and I just always wanted to have the chance to be there. So the way I look at it is that I got an invite, and now I got to prove why I got that invite.
And why you belong.
So obviously, I'm just very excited to be there, and it should be a fun time.
And that sort of leads me to the question. I've heard a few podcasts with you, with Ben Smith and the other guy. I forgot the name of him. And at one point, you said a quote that really stuck with me. You said, "It's important to work on your weaknesses, but I would rather make my strengths even bigger strengths." Something to that line. Can you sort of elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. This is something that I started to think this way not so long ago. And this is the way I look at it. Like in an ideal world, when you're a CrossFit athlete, you want to be as consistent as possible throughout the 8, 9, 10, whatever events they are. But the reality is none of us are consistent. There's a few outliers in the sports, and we don't have to go into the Frasers and Tias. And, for some reason in our minds, unless you're a dominant champion, you're not a champion at all. But I believe that 99.999% of us have weaknesses that may not be able to fix. And this is the way I look at it. My strengths are going to be lifting. Now, if I take away all my time from lifting to work on my strict handstand push-ups, in the past, let's say I was always last place at strict handstand push-ups, but I was always top 3 at lifting events. Now I spent all this time on doing, for me specifically, strict handstand push-ups, and I neglect my lifting. Now I may go from last place to 10 places up, and on a 30 field, I finish 20th instead of 30th. But because I take all the time away from my strength, I drop there to 10th, 15th place, whatever that may be. Now, all of a sudden, when you look at the grand scheme of things, you're actually making less points in a competition than you would if you would just win your events or do as well in your events as possible. And I also think that when you're going into a competition, you want to be as confident as possible. And all of a sudden, if you're taking away time from your strengths, you're not going to be confident in your strengths. And that's going to trickle down to everything else. So while I always think that it's important to work, let's call it weaknesses, I also think that you should spend even more or at least the same amount of time getting your strengths as bulletproof as possible.
It's super interesting too, Kristof. I sort of agree, because I remember in Madrid this year, you're lifting with Mia, Julia, and the guy from the States, and you're putting 160 on the bar for a power clean and jerk, and we're in the ice bath afterwards. You go, "Oh, I wish I had more time. I would have gone 170." And it's just like, you go from, as you said, maybe taking a 10th place if you hadn't focused on your strength to dominating that event. And not just the points, even getting 100 points, you also get a lot of media attention. You get maybe sponsorship opportunities that would be good for an athlete. There's a lot of things with this. So I sort of agree, because if you look at the broad, picture or whatever you would say for an athlete, it's very important to dominate events more than it is to be 10th. It's almost sometimes better to get a first and the last, even points wise, but also sponsorship wise, word of mouth, all these things.
Danny Spiegel's the perfect example.
Yeah. And especially if you look at the leaderboard, it pays to win an event. It pays so much to win an event in all scenarios.
And
obviously,
it goes out.
Yeah, there's a difference, I think, between training to win the CrossFit Games versus training to get to the games versus training for whatever, right? Now you get to a certain point when you can afford to maybe not pay that much attention to your strengths, but pay more attention to your weaknesses. So I would say it's highly differs by person, but I don't think you should. We always are so focused on working on weaknesses that we sometimes forget to work on our strengths.
Yeah, it's a good quote. I also like how you said it's different training to be at the games than training to get to the games. And that's a question 100%. I've thought with you, because you've been training with two girls who are I think we can be safe to say they're secured in making it to the games every single year. So the way they train is to perform at the games. They don't train to get to the games. Does that mean that you're training with them like you were expecting yourself to be at the games, or do you train to do well at the quarterfinals where there's 10,000 competitors?
Yeah,
because I think if you made it to the games,
question.
you would do very well compared to how you would do in the Open, for example.
I enjoy training much more than I like competing. I like competing, but and this is my downfall, I guess, in some ways, that I'd rather have an awesome, and by awesome I mean a hard training day, than to and train with others, than to do something that would be a little bit more beneficial for me personally. And that is something actually I train now leading up to Dubai. The last 2 months, the training has been catered to more to me, and I spend some training sessions training alone rather than doing something that I don't think that benefits me going to Dubai. But I think Gabby and Laura are a great example, especially if you look at Laura, going into semifinals. She's going to be the favorite of winning semifinals this year, the European one. And then she finishes third this year. And everyone is like, oh, Laura is done. She's not going to do anything at the games. Of course she will. She was training for the games. She was doing 2 pool sessions, and she was out there and doing stuff that you don't need for semifinals because she knew she's going to get there.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, and I don't want to take clout away from Gabby, because I do believe that winning semifinals is huge. And for Gabby, it was a giant milestone in their career. But you also have to see that when I'm talking about Laura or Gabby, they do have different career paths, and they do have different goals. Training to win the CrossFit Games and training to get on the podium are 2 different things. But you want to make sure that you are peaking for the games. And it's hard as an athlete, because most CrossFit Games athletes, I believe, aren't training to do well at the games. They are training to get back to the games, or they're training to get to the games. And then, all year round, you're doing thrusters and burpees and muscle up, and then you get to the games and they put you on a bike. It's the weirdest thing ever.
But I mean, I also don't blame them, because if I was an athlete, a bubble athlete at the games, I think it would be more important for me to feel confident that I would qualify to the games and then maybe get a 26th place instead of a 15th. Then I would want to risk training to be well at the games and then not qualifying at semifinals. So I do understand the way they think. I mean, I can sort of...
They're everything
you know what I
differently
mean?
then. Because I was never big on participation.
But how is it with you
then?
What's your big dreams what do you have of dreams this coming season and for the future? Is it to make it to the games individual, or do you want to go team, or do you want to manage Gabby? What's the deal? We're excited to hear as well.
Is that to have the best possible training day on each given day at the gym. And I believe that the results will come.
I like
if
that.
it meant to be. If it meant
it's a bit
to be.
stoic. I like that.
But this is what I can say. I attached. Here's an example for you. And I talked about this with Laura. I talked about this with Ben. If you listen to the Ben postcard, I asked this question from them. And this is my personal experience. For years and years and years, I put qualifying to semifinals on a pedestal. All I wanted to do is get to semifinals. And it did not happen for maybe the first 7 years of my career. Never made it. And I imagine getting to semifinals. Will I call my mom? Will I be happy? Will I go party? Will I cry? Having tears of joy? And I tell you what, the day I got the message, or even after quarterfinals, when I qualified to semifinals, it was the least meaningful experience of my life. Mm-hmm. So I stopped attaching outcomes to my goals. The goal, and again, it's not that it's stoic or it's very hipster to say that, but for me, it changed that the goal is not to get somewhere. The goal is the way, the road.
It's the journey.
It's the journey. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I like that. It's going back to the roots as well, because these are quotes we've heard maybe 5-6 years ago. They used to say, enjoy the journey when you're doing CrossFit. It's not a race, it's a marathon, and so on and so on. And I felt like the CrossFit community sort of moved away from that for a little while. And it's nice to hear someone sort of coming back to the roots.
Oops, sorry.
Well then, Kristof, speaking of like dreams as well, what's the dream with in Madrid? You told me you guys were thinking about opening a gym, maybe becoming affiliate owners. Is that a secret or something you want to talk about?
Yeah, I can't talk about that right now.
All right, we'll keep it under the rug.
Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. You're good. Holger, do you have anything you want to say before we go into some questions? Some listener questions?
Nah, I've been all over the place with my thoughts, but I've just been listening and taking it all in. You're the guest today, so me and Victor will probably do an episode around this episode because we don't have a lot to talk about. So we'll just get back to everything there.
Come on, Holger, it's your time. Come on, shoot. You can think a little bit about it. You can ask anything.
Yeah.
The first
I have
time
a good one.
I say I don't want to
answer,
answer.
but yeah. Nah, it's okay.
Kristof, I have a question. You know, like a toxic trait, like a red flag in your girlfriend or something? What's your fitness toxic trait? Like, I have a toxic trait. If I see someone I like do worse than me, sometimes I'm like, oh, that feels pretty good. I would never say it, but inside it feels pretty good. You know what I mean? You have like a fitness toxic trait. Like you beat Laura, you're like, yeah, fuck you.
No, I'm the fittest woman.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say.
No fitness toxic trait.
No, that was a good question though.
What about a fitness pet peeve? Like I'll walk into the gym and I'll see someone not training hard and they're blasting music and I'm like, why is this music so fucking loud? Can you please turn it down if you're not training hard? If it's like a weightlifting 101 camp, I'm like, fine, turn it up. But if they're just hanging out, I'm like, turn it the fuck down. That's just me.
I don't like when people don't put away their shit, or don't clean the equipment. That bugs the hell out of me. And I just kept it inside me and then boiling and then, I would just put it away myself. No, I don't give a fuck anymore. I just tell them to put it away.
Confront them. I like that.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna be the one who's gonna put the equipment away for the rest of my life, and it's just gonna piss me off. So.
Yeah, I understand. All right, a bit more of like a serious theme with this. Like Laura, she just made an amazing Rogue performance. She had an amazing Games performance. Gabby as well. I think. Not messing up. She got 4th here at Games and 4th at Rogue as well. And that's what we pegged her at. But there's been all this talk online, and I know online is sort of a weird world, but a lot of people have been like, oh, Tia just gave birth and Laura doesn't deserve this. And we've always thought it's sort of weird because we think Laura deserves it no matter what Tia does. And as you said earlier, with the money, if someone makes a lot of money, it doesn't mean that you make less. And I feel the same way here. Just because Tia is amazing and an amazing woman, it doesn't mean that Laura is less of an amazing athlete. How do you guys handle all this like online drama? Do you just sort of block it out? Do you not care? Do you laugh at home? Do you like say, fuck these guys, they don't know? How do you guys deal with it day to day?
I think you put it perfectly. I think people are too fucking sensitive nowadays.
It's true.
And here's the
thing. Don't know.
At the core of competition, it doesn't care. Competition doesn't care if, in Tia's example, had a baby, your cat died 2 days ago, or you got into a car accident. If you show up to compete, you show up to compete. And I don't see in any word when it takes away from Tia's legacy. She had a baby 5 months ago. I think people need to calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? With all the commenting. It is incredible.
It's crazy.
And if she wouldn't have felt that she's able to be the whole field there, she wouldn't have signed up for Rogue.
Exactly.
So
we agree.
I don't think it takes away from Laura's win. I don't think, here's the thing. Being a fan is a weird thing. It's a weird freaking thing. When our local football team go and beats another football team, the bloke from next door comes to me and he says, dude, we finally won. I mean, you didn't do shit, bro.
Yeah.
The team went out there and they won or lost on their own. And at the core of fans, we gravitate towards someone because of something. TMI just got a bunch of new fans because there's a lot of moms out there, which is incredible. And I hope it encourages them to do CrossFit and live this kind of lifestyle. But we are fans most of the time for unknown reasons, even to ourselves.
That's true.
And I don't think anyone's mind should be changed or this or that. I think it's just that respect the outcome. And I even want to take it a step further. We have no guarantee of the future, right? Mm-hmm. And instead of saying, Laura won like this, why Tia didn't won so and so, we should sit down for a second and truly, truly appreciate that two of the best went head to head. And we don't know, it might never happen before. This was the most exciting competition of, I actually didn't pay attention at all to the male side because it was busy at row, but going to the final event, Laura and Tia being tied for first place.
It was crazy.
And Gabby and Emma being tied for third place. I mean, come on, like pinch yourself for a second. This is incredible. Keeping ourselves on the edge of the seat. You know what, for me, it's obviously bad for my health and for my gray hair on the top of my head.
Bro, I don't have any left. Don't worry.
So here's the thing. This is just, I think we should, rather than criticizing someone or pointing fingers here and there, being sensitive about someone's comment. And I tell you what, anyone who says that Laura's final comments were arrogant or whatever it may be, man, they should take a look at some other sports and what people are saying sometimes to each other. I think it was nothing but respectful.
I agree. And
people should appreciate the time we are.
I agree so much because some of these we were reading some of the comments last week on the podcast, and they were outrageous. I mean, it wasn't just like small things. They would be like, I don't even want to read them, but they were just going crazy. And people were criticizing Laura's last comments, and it's just so out of context. Laura just wins $2 million or whatever it is, $2.5 thousand. She's pumped of adrenaline. She just won the final. Of course, she's going to say all these things. She's been criticized for 3, 4, 5 months since the games. I completely understand. And then people take it out of context. It just seems
out of context,
unhinged. And we've had a lot of talks about mental health and Mal O'Brien earlier in the year, and I can just imagine the mental toll it takes on someone like Laura or Gabby or you to read all these things, knowing how it is, and then having to read and sit through all this.
You don't want to hear. You're trying to block it out, but no one is bulletproof. And the thing is this, people don't realize the harm. And I'm not talking about Laura's example alone, but I'm talking about as a society as a whole, if you will, that comments can have a very rude and very, very horrible effect on someone without people realizing it. And it's unfortunate that from a private account or even from like an open account, people say certain things that I really believe that they wouldn't come up to you and say it to your face, because no one will say shit like that.
Never, yeah.
And it is horrible. I think the internet is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because we can just say whatever we want, and with all the good and with all the bad. It is unfortunate. I think people need to stop being so freaking sensitive and maybe look at their life as well for a second. It is one of my, I wouldn't say core values, but whenever I get into a disagreement with someone, or someone says something I don't agree with, or whatever it may be, I always try to take a hard second for myself and really truly try to put myself into their shoes. And even then, it's very hard to understand sometimes, but the best thing you can do is don't just always say your truths, what you're believing, but try to put yourself in someone else's shoe and truly deeply try to understand their situation before you say something.
I like it. And it's interesting to hear it from, what do you say in English, the horse's mouth, like, because you guys live this, we only see it from the outside. We don't experience these comments. And it's hard for us to imagine, being at the top and having people on podcasts criticize you, people, people on comments, there must be so much pressure. And, if I get 2 comments on my picture on Instagram, I'm like, oh, it's popping off right now. And you guys are getting 1,000, it must be insane for the brain to handle.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, even if you get 100 positive comments, the one that will stick out is the one negative one. And it is unfortunate. I guess this is how our brain is wired. But I always say that we're very lucky, because both of my girls, I do believe, but I always be biased about them. They have a very loved and caring fan base, if you want to call it, people that follow their journey. And our experience is always super positive. And I also would like to say it is that what you see online and what people post is nothing but a fraction of their life. You don't truly know someone unless you have a conversation with them. So here's the thing. I also think that at our sport, everyone is a bit too nice, maybe. You know,
there's toxic
if you look at other
positivity.
sports, I
agree.
would 100% agree with that. And here's the thing: if you're not about that life, don't do that for followers or social media. You know, be yourself. Say whatever the fuck you want to say, and do whatever
Yeah,
you want to do.
I mean,
Obviously,
we
don't
like
hurt no one, but yeah.
I'm happy you're saying this because me and Holger have been talking about this for years. You know, like again, now we're shitting on someone, which is a bit ironic. But looking at the Buttery Bros, or it's not them in particular, but what they sort of represent, this toxic positivity. Everything has to be positive. You can't say anything negative. If you criticize the programming, then you hate CrossFit. If you criticize the sponsors, then you hate CrossFit. If you say something bad about someone, then I mean, it's always too nice. And then if Laura says something that seems just a bit not positive, then it's taken as a negative, and it just seems like a weird way to live life. You know what I mean? Because as you said, in any other sport, what Laura said would not have been even, it wouldn't even have been an issue. You know what I mean? I mean, so it's CrossFit does have this issue with the Kool-Aid, the CrossFit Kool-Aid. Like if you're not part of the cult, then you're against it. And it's the same here in Denmark.
Here's the thing. I'm sorry. Nothing is always positive. And I also believe that you cannot truly experience happiness if you've never been sad before. You know, here's the thing. And we all have to realize everyone has bad days. Everyone has breakups. Everyone has injuries. You don't need to hide them. I'm also not saying that you should post about it or whatever, but we shouldn't portray an all happy life, because it's not true. And you cannot truly experience happiness unless you went through some hardship and sadness. And we're all the same. We're all human beings. We all go through this stuff.
Yeah. It's nice to hear you saying it as well.
Holger, you were saying something.
I forgot. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been. It's cool to hear you, elaborate a little bit on being like you're super spiritual and very like thought through, and a lot of these things that you deal with through the girls or through yourself. Like we've talked about it like from the outside, as Victor said, and it's fun to like speculate and now hear it from your side. Like, of course, some comments go through, and like when you see it, when you just scroll through like a feed like Laura's, you just see like all this noise, and it's crazy. Like it just as a bystander watching it. So like imagining being the one in that seat, like when we've talked about Mallory O'Brien or Haley Adams, like the pressure these girls they deal with, and especially the girls, like it's crazy. So to hear you talk a little bit about it, and it's just as you said, like you didn't like in the beginning of this episode, you were talking about not being the elite, like we're all the same, and now it's kind of like full circle, get back to that, and you guys, you're just
goes full
CrossFitters.
circle.
Yeah. Well, I also have a question with that. When you say, like Holger says, you said you don't want to seem as the elite, you don't want to separate yourselves from the community. That being said, what changed once Laura and Gabby became these CrossFit superstars? Because Laura came out of nowhere, rookie year podiums. Gabby, she wins several sanctionals during the COVID era, comes to the games, dominates. Now Laura and Gabby are top 5 in the world, both of them. Has anything changed other than the money, or like do your parents or look at you differently, or do you get people on the street telling you guys are amazing? I mean, is it just same old, or what's the deal?
Nothing. They live a more comfortable life because they make more money, which they earned. I would also say that I think both Gabby and Laura comes from a very healthy family background, so they are both grounded. You know, they never changed. I never see any change in them. If anything, maybe they became a little bit more close because of the outside attention. But I also think that the people who weren't helping to stoke their flames, but looking for an opportunity, they all fallen off over time for the better. And I believe that we have a small crew, a small family, a small friend group that hasn't changed for the past so many years. And, you know, at the end of the day, the girls winning or losing, we all love them the same, and they all get the same treatment. And the friends bring them down back to earth, whatever happens. So it's healthy. I think keep your friends close, and the ones especially from day one.
I love to hear it too, because it's like, even if you're at the top or if you're just like us, it's so nice to hear that you, as you said, if they win or if they lose, you guys love them just as much. And we've had people that we know that if they do poorly at a competition, all of a sudden the whole world just comes falling down. Then they put so much, pressure on themselves. If they're not a good athlete, then what are they? The whole identity is sort of put onto a number or a podium. And once they don't reach that goal, then their own personality sort of falls apart. And it's so nice to hear that you guys have just realized no matter what happens, you have a nice, loving family and you have friends around you that support you guys. It's nice to hear.
The way I look at it, and I think today's society is very, very interesting. And what I'm trying to get is that I think a lot of people try to associate, it comes down. So what I'm trying to go there is it comes down to our core values at the end of the day. Because Laura is the fittest woman on earth, but she's also Laura, who is a loving sister, a mom to her dog, someone who has hobbies, someone who has interests. She's also, she goes through the same breakups and, falling in love as all of us. And I think if you identify yourself as your profession, then that's a very dangerous path to go down to. You as a person, if you're only constantly pouring water out of a cup, let's say as an example, into your profession and never fill that cup, as a human being, then you're gonna live an empty life. We're getting a bit stoic here, but
I like it.
I think there needs to be a clear separation between what you do and who you are. That's what I'm trying to get.
It's like late night philosophy, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and Kristof, we appreciate you doing this. We don't also want to take all your evening, but it's just amazing to hear. Cool. It just seems so healthy that you guys have a way of living life. You guys are performing well. And I think, as you said, this is what works for you guys. You guys are focused on the day-to-day, having a good training day, being surrounded by people you love and people that support you, and then the results will come. You're not, it doesn't sound like you're result-oriented, but you're like life-oriented, and it's a fresh breath of air.
And I also want to say that it's not all happy, and it's not always this bubble, this pink cloud all the time. Laura and I fight, Gabby and I fight. We all go through the same daily shit. Yeah. I forget to take out the trash, and then Gabby yells at me. Like, we all go through the same things, and it's not that we live in this all Hakuna Matata and then mind, soul, whatever happiness. We all have the same struggles as other people.
Yeah, we know you're human as well, but it's just nice to hear, because as you said, in CrossFit, it sort of gets forgotten in all the noise. People are put on a pedestal, and it's like they're superhuman or they're always positive, but in reality, as you say, life happens.
Yeah.
All right, Kristof, before we let you go, we have a few rapid fire questions.
Go for it.
And we have I'll put them on the screen. I'll read them out loud, and you just answer any way you want to feel. Okay.
Okay.
Do blondes have more fun? Because you've been blonde.
That's a good question. Nah, I say this. For me, things like piercings, like coloring my hair, having a different facial hair, it's just myself of expressing myself. Some mornings I wake up, I want to have a mustache, I get a freaking mustache, and then that's it. And if I get bored of it, I shave it off. So that's about it.
Goes to the next one. Favorite hair beard style combo? Because I've seen you do some crazy shit. I remember at French Throwdown, you had a shaved head and a goatee, and you looked like a biker from like the 90s. And I've seen you with blonde hair and piercings and a mustache. I've seen it all. I mean, what's your favorite?
Yeah, I would say, and this is my boss's choice, Gabby's, to have hair. I like to just shave it because it's just super convenient. I don't have to make an appointment to a hairdresser. I don't have to, whatever. It's always nice for 10 days, but then it starts to grow down. So if it was up to me, I would shave it because it's just simple and easy.
All right. You have to fight a grizzly bear. Who's on your team, Laura or Ben?
Oh, Ben.
For sure. Oh, I would have taken Laura.
He's bigger. is bigger for sure, man.
Okay. Dream team for the games, and you have to be one of the guys. 2 girls and you.
I would say right now it's Ben and Laura and Gabby. Yeah,
safe bet.
That'd be an awesome team.
But
I would happily. I would happily give up my spot to Froning. I think Froning, Van, Gabby, and Laura would be a sick team.
Oh, that would be sick.
Maybe it'd come out of retirement, yeah.
Oh, man, I would love to see that. All right, Superbad or Breaking Bad? And I say this because your profile picture on the CrossFit Athlete page is the guy, McNulty. No, what's his name? McLovin from Superbad.
The 23 years old organ donor from Hawaii. Yeah, 100%. Superbad. Yeah, it's no question. I like goofy movies, and Superbad is an all-time classic.
Man, I love that. That's the week recommendation of the week. All right. New movements in CrossFit, yes, no. And here we're talking wall-facing, strict deficit handstand push-ups while you look to the left and hear an eagle cry. It's whatever you want to. I mean, is it getting too ridiculous or no?
This could be another hour of an episode, so I would just say yes, but with an asterisk next to it. I think it has to be well thought out what comes in.
We'll bring you in next time we can talk about it.
Yeah,
all right.
100%.
Assault block or rower?
Rower.
Goat, Rich or Matt?
Rich.
In the male side.
We know this.
We know this. We agree. We can spend some time on this question because the way we define the greatest of all time, we don't only look at the fitness, we also look at what you've done for the sport and your longevity in the sport. And for us, Rich has won 4 years. He's gone team 6 years. He's elevated the sport. He's elevated the community. He lives and breathes the affiliate life, the CrossFit life. The day after he stopped competing, he still does CrossFit. And that's why we think he's the GOAT. And you're nodding.
Amen
maybe
to
you
that,
agree.
Brother.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah, this is the thing. Rich and Ben, and probably there are other OGs as well, they will do CrossFit until they can't.
I know.
Until
the wheels fall off.
Life is about. Yeah.
I agree. All right. Last one before we let you go. Texas or Madison?
I always look at change as a positive thing. So I'm excited to see Fort Worth.
Yeah, it's an amazing. Have you been to Texas before? Oh, yeah, you just been to Rogue, of course. Stupid question.
Yeah. Texas is a fun place to be.
All right, Kristof. It's been an hour and 30 minutes now. We're going to let you leave and enjoy your Monday evening. Thank you so much for being part of the program. We really enjoyed having you here. It was amazing for us just as friends to listen to you, and I hope our listeners are going to enjoy this just as much. We look forward to seeing you at Dubai. We hope the best.
Thank you.
And your amazing career. I'm excited to see you next year at semis or wherever I'm going to meet you. And if you want to plug anything, this is the moment.
No, it's always a good time with you, Victor. I mean, we've seen each other, we know each other for a long time, and it's very nice to spend some time with you, Holger, as well. And thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. It's been a blast. And yeah,
so well spoken.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Pleasure
it.
Pleasure is all ours.
Say hi to Gabby and Laura for us, even though they don't know us. But say congratulations on their amazing performance. We wish you the best, Kristof, and I'm going to kick you out now.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
See you, man. Take care.
See you. Bye-bye.
Fucking champ.
Han er bare os.
Fuck, han er stoic. Jeg kan godt lide det.
Han er legit filosofisk og velovervejet.
Ja, jeg kan godt lide det. Også fordi, at han var meget diplomatisk, og sådan, han vil ikke lige diss og nakke det der program, og dit og datten, men han siger det uden at sige det. Det er sgu lidt fedt faktisk. Han er en real one.
Ja.
Han tager også kritisere.
Du kunne godt høre, der var en, der baksede rundt med tallerkenen i baggrunden, ikke?
Var det Gabby? Laura?
Om det er Gabby eller Laura, der var stået og vasket op.
The fittest dishwasher in the world.
Ja,
Astrid, vil du lige snakke med?
Er I fandme op?
Vi har snakket med en, hvis søster er mere fedt, end du er.
I know.
Ja, der kan rive under. Du skal snakke her, hvis du vil med.
Bare en lille smule.
Nå, Holger, hvad hedder det? Hvad så? Er du med, vi skal snakke om?
Nej, det var super nice. Jeg synes, du havde et godt interview med. Jeg gad ikke at blande mig for meget, fordi det bliver så fuck med mikrofonerne, når vi er 3, så jeg tænkte bare sådan, at han havde også rigeligt at fortælle, så der var ikke nogen grund til at afbryde overhovedet.
Fuck, man putter bare en 5'er i maskinen, så kører han.
Det var fedt. Det er den perfekte gæst.
Ja, det var fucking nice. Vi må tage ham ind en anden gang og snakke.
Helt sikkert, og det kunne være så fedt også, nu snakkede vi lidt om programmering meget sådan overordnet i forhold til de programmer, han har været på og så videre og sådan noget, men jeg tror virkelig, man kunne få meget ud af ham og snakke med ham om med programmering, men noget af det, jeg synes, der var det fedeste, det er det, man siger, at han laver mindre, end han nogensinde har gjort, og han bliver bedre, end han nogensinde har gjort. Jeg sad bare, sig det.
Skal vi ikke pakke CrossFit, eller podcastgrejen ned, og så tage det Budapest på et tidspunkt, og træne, og så bare lige lave podcast? Kunne det ikke være fedt?
Jo, det gør vi bare lige med, så tager vi bare lige Freddy med. Og,
ja, sådan en lille weekend, det kan vi da godt. Nu bruger vi sponsorpengene.
Hvis han, ja, det kunne være sygt. Hvis der er en konkurrence, hvor vi lige ser, vi har et snit til det, så kunne det være perfekt. Men det kunne også være en god tur.
Ja, det kunne være fedt. Hvad hedder det? Til alle jer, der lytter med derude, tusind tak. Vi håber, I kunne lide afsnittet. Der er ingen sponsor på den her. Måske kommer der næste uge. Vi har en masse gæster i pipeline, dopinglæger og atletikudøvere og kostvejledere. Jeg skulle huske at sige, hvis I går ind på Spotify og giver nogle stjerner på programmet, det er en måde, man kan hjælpe podcastet. Det er bare...
Rate, subscribe.
Ja, lige præcis.
Hvis du alligevel hører det, så kan du lige så godt bare lige trykke 6 stjerner. Du behøver da ikke skrive noget.
Lige præcis.
100
og
stjerner.
Så siger vi bare tusind tak, fordi I lytter med. Det er så dejligt, at I vil støtte os i vores lille hobby her. Ha' en god aften.